I think it's helpful to think of yourself as a character, right? Like that, where I learned about this years ago from Dan Kennedy. It was one of his, like, probably um, probably the thing that I took to heart the most from what he taught. So Dan Kennedy, for those of you who don't know, is a old, super old kind of direct response marketer. He's still alive. I think he lives in Arizona, as far, or maybe he lives in Ohio. I forget. Um, and he was actually, he had a business partner named Bill Glazer. I was with his daughter last night at a meetup, so it was kind of fun to meet her and like kind of inside of that family. Kennedy Glazer Kennedy Inner Circle was the name of the company back then. I joined in 2010, went to some events. Anyway, so one of the things that Dan Kennedy talked about is how making yourself into a character that is based on you and is true, but is kind of an exaggeration of yourself, is a little bit more like you play into certain things, that's really helpful. And like saying this, I'm like, we need to do that more, honestly. And I actually have a document. Did I share that with you, called Calvin the Character? I haven't shared that with you. All right, I'll share that with you. Whereas like going through this exercise, because like, so it's like, what are your superhero powers? What are your pet peeves? What are your hard to believe accomplishments? What are your weaknesses and shortcomings? Right? What are your key parables that you keep sharing, that you teach people? Talk about that are teaching stories, etc. And like one of his insights was that people love to follow the adventures of a character, right? Series fiction where you have, Jack Ryan, for example, like is a character, a fictional character, or Sherlock Holmes, fictional character, or what are some of those like long running, like there's like 20, 30 books in a series with the same character, because people love to follow that shit, right? Even every TV show, like people just love following, like what are they going to do next? And so there's something extremely powerful in using that in your marketing of like, what the fuck is this guy going to do next? If he can keep people on the edge a little bit and kind of tune into that story, that can be extremely powerful. And I think just showing up a little bit exaggerated in that way, where like, yeah, what you put out in public is not exactly who you are. It's it's an exaggeration of who you are for the purposes of engaging people, so that they can actually listen to you and hear you and take it to heart, and then buy from you and implement something in their lives. There's a big thing that happened a couple of weeks ago with a guy that calls himself the Liver King. Do you know what his real name is? I have no idea either. He calls himself the Liver King. You can Google this. He has this supplement line where it's like organ stuff. So liver and I forget, like other organs is like that you can buy in pill form. And he's like, yeah, and I eat this raw liver and like raw egg yolks and whatnot. And then like if you look at his photos, he's like fucking strong, like nobody's business. And then a couple of weeks ago, it came out that he's doing steroids, right? He's doing hormone treatments and has been doing that for a few years. But yeah, he did a good job in this larger than life character. And I'm not saying you have to do it in the way that he is, but there is a point in playing a role, playing a character. Just don't go lie about it, but you can definitely exaggerate certain parts. Yeah.
So how do you do that with the authenticity? Because I feel like a lot of people in our world feel like authenticity means you can't expand that character.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're always like, you're a different self with your intimate partner than you are with your employees, than you are with your mom and dad, than you are with like your kids, than you are with your best friend, right? We're always playing a role to some extent. There is no quote unquote authentic self in that sense. Like, but we just play appropriate for the situation. So I think of it in exactly the same way. What is the appropriate, like if you're on stage, there's a different behavior that's appropriate. There's a bit different way of speaking. Like, I wouldn't speak this way if we sat down and had dinner. Right? That would be super awkward. That would be super weird. But here, it is appropriate to communicate in a different way because of the situation. So it's all authentic. It's just what's helpful in the situation. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, that would be weird if I talked like this to my wife, or like, like imagine that, like, or coming to my parents at dinner and like talking like that all night. That would be so weird.
There are 7 ways that I change.
That would be crazy.